Hello friends, I'll keep this rather simple. Falcon got some rather tremendous buffs in patch 3.1, so the purpose of this video will be briefly going over each one in detail, and then of course summarizing them in the context of what they do for Falcon as a whole. First up would be the simple but highly effective forward tilt change. So they increased the launch distance on this move, and at an initial glance that doesn't really seem like it would bear much use now, or does it? So, quite simply, the reason this move is useful is if you've ever watched top level melee, especially in recent years, I'm sure you've seen more specifically the 20GX tech chasing that has specifically emerged due to the likes of Wizrobe, Gatsu, and other such players who have championed, well, relentlessly optimal tech chasing, simply put. The reason this forward tilt has so much value is the very fact that you're able to use it to force the hand of these in the first place. Notice how, for instance, that particular thing, you won't be able to get a jab reset, but on a large variety of characters with setups like Nair 1 into back air into F tilt, or Raptor Boost into up air into a tilt, or down throw into up air into F tilt, or just run up F tilt. There are a myriad of ways in which roughly around 10 to 15%, which is where it starts, you will be able to use F tilt as a mechanism for inducing tech chasing. And of course, Falcon, being as fast as he is, you can pretty reliably reaction tech chase people, cover all possible options, and get significantly stronger follow-ups than you would if you were to branch that combo off into something else instead. It's just really, really good. And being able to induce tech chases in the middle of just even random combos, or just running up and hey, it's a fast long range poke move that also sets up tech chases, which sets up grabs, which sets up airs, which sets up knees, downers, you know, the likes. It's a simple change, but one that is very meaningful for the purposes of constantly forcing tech chases. Alright, the next one is also relatively simple, but deceptively useful upon further inspection. This would be the fact that they sped up the initial hitbox on Falcon's up tilt. So what this means is there are a variety of situations where they wanted to make the move function effectively as an anti-air, but it was too slow to do so. You can even see this in an in-game tip. But in round 2 of the Crimson Chin versus the Bronze Kneecap, you can see that the speed increase has made it to where not only can you use it for anti-airing much more effectively because of its greater speed coming out, you can also effectively combo into and out of it with a much greater degree as well. A good example is, like the reaction tech chasing examples I mentioned earlier, if you read where they're going to tech and then you do down air into up tilt into dash tech, well, sick, you just got 40 extra damage. That's nothing to underlook. Or another simple example of another new combo that we suddenly have access to is this little cutie. They're dead at 25. And it's worth noting that that is significantly more effective than just doing Nair 1 into that, because since they're at the apex of that jump, not only are they significantly higher up from the fall, but up tilt actually factors in your opponent's current trajectory when it comes to calculating its knockback. So because of this, the Falcon would live longer than they would if they had simply stopped rising by the time they were in that position, rather than you hitting them then while they're still rising. So because of this, there's that, it's just simple physics. You're pushing someone forward, the force pushes against it, and consequently their fall is slowed. Enough to where they won't die from that, but doing ye old up air into up tilt, it will do the trick. Although obviously that example missed. This next one is really simple. So with Captain Falcon's knee, they increased the hitbox size by 25%. Nothing else to it. But because of this, a variety of Captain Falcon's bread and butter setups into knee that were occasionally seen as inconsistent due to the fact that you could very realistically force them to read DI versus react to it. It is now significantly easier in a large variety of situations to not have to read DI, simply because the hitbox itself is large enough to where you're able to compensate for these small differences and accordingly do pretty much whatever you want with it. Being able to simply combo into knee more reliably makes not only getting hard reads with it significantly easier and using it to cover options, but simple nair 1 into knee, nair 1 into up air into knee, down air into knee, or really just about anything imaginable becomes significantly easier to just, wow, I suck, to just land it like that. Don't really need to go over why this is important, but consistency in your combos is always a good thing. So, yeah. This one is really simple. So with Captain Falcon's back air, they increase its knockback. So because of this, you can use it to kill roughly 15 to 20% earlier, which is huge. And it gives Falcon a means of killing past stocks in which you are no longer able to effectively combo into a finisher. This is because Falcon has generally had to either get one of those combo finishers or awkwardly fish for up Bs. It wasn't great. So simply having a pretty safe move that has great knockback, scales well with Ridge, and kills as a supplement to his normal game when you just can't combo anymore is fantastic and a lifesaver. Also, the increased knockback means that in some ways, new combo windows open up, such as true combo, by the way, even with DI and all that. Being able to combo back air into Raptor Boost, this into that, or really a gazillion different things, opens a lot of windows for this character. Even at higher percents, for instance, you can actually true combo weak back air into Raptor Boost as well. True combo. Isn't that fantastic? 54 damage off of a stray back air? Yeah, nothing special. Now, we get to my favorite part. So, with Raptor Boost, they actually buffed this move in 3 different ways, all of which are pivotal to the success of this move as a whole. First off, they increased the speed at which the hitbox comes out upon finding a hurt box. So the way this move works is you move forward. Once you become within range of a hurt box that you're going to hit, he stops, the hitbox activates, and it used to come out 6 frames later. Now I believe it comes out 4 frames later. 2 frames might seem, well, relatively inconsequential. But as commonly demonstrated by just about anyone on Twitter, it became rather simple to simply move within the hurt box's range, whiff out of it, and then the move itself would whiff. Far too reliably for it to be satisfactory. To the point where the move became inconsistent and very rarely worth going for by virtue of it being a high-risk option that, even when it does work, doesn't get you that much, and also very often didn't work. So because of this, they fixed it to where it now works significantly more often in that regard. So that's cool. But then they decided, you know what? So if this move is meant to be a high-risk option for beating other options, which is why they added the armor, but they didn't add enough armor before, they're like, well, let's add a little bit more so that it can work as, you know, we intended it to. So because of this, juicy example, for instance, you can actually use Raptor Boost to keep Palutena honest with nairs. To where if they just go like, la-di-da-di-da, I'm Palo, I can nair in your face for free, and there's nothing you can do about it because you're Falcon, you can say, yes, there is. I do this, and it works. And it's fantastic. Being able to power through nairs, hit them for it to keep them honest, and keep a lot of characters honest with aerial approaches or a lot of things is great. It's still pretty risky, but I mean, you get a lot out of it, and you can use it to beat a lot of different things. To make an excellent conditioning tool, for instance. And then the final buff. This one's juicy. They gave it more hit stun, which means you can now reliably combo into it from low to mid percents, even with optimal DI and escape options. So with suboptimal DI, you could potentially get combos with this at like 60 to 70 on heavier characters. Not exaggerating. It's fantastic. It opens a lot of windows for Falcon, and it's just wonderful. It makes it to where being able to keep those characters honest, like Palutena, like Pikachu or Pichu landing on your shield with stuff, or a gazillion other characters, or simply being able to discourage particular options, it's fantastic. You're obviously going to be mainly using it as a way of making your opponent not want to do certain things so that you can either take advantage of what they still have available, or just use it as a burst option that's sped up, powers through a lot of things, and also starts combos. This move's actually godlike now. And this last one is pretty simple and honestly not that big of a deal, but it's still nice. So they made the hitboxes on Falcon Kick more well defined, and they also added an extra weak hitbox to the end where the visual effect seems to imply a hitbox, but previously there was none. For instance, that hits. It's great. And the initial hitbox being more well defined means that you can actually use it for powering through various projectiles. Like if Mario shoots a fireball and you point blank Falcon Kick it, you'll go through and hit Mario on the other side, it's great. It opens windows, and it gives you a way of, common theme here, keeping your opponents honest with what they're doing so that you can just figure out what it is you want to do to deal with your opponent's stuff. As I've mentioned in countless videos before, Falcon as a character in this game is very much contingent on understanding what your opponent wants to do and either taking that away from them or counteracting it, since you're generally lacking in effective things that you can just impose on your opponent and force them to react to you instead, other than your speed, that is. So simply having that as yet another tool for that is great, and it also gives you another edge guarding option. Suppose someone is a little bit higher up, for instance, about right here, and you read that they're going to press a button off stage. You can just go after them, and they're probably going to die since they're that far away. Obviously, it's pretty risky, but I mean, it's a new use. It used to do that before, but now it does it even better due to the fact that the extra hitbox at the end is significantly more consistent and a bit larger. And combine that with the initial hitbox being better for specifically getting through projectiles or weaker attacks, and you have a pretty balanced toolkit for addressing a large variety of situations, characters, and toolkits. To wrap this up, I think Falcon as a whole, in the context of all these buffs, when you combine it with the fact that several of his harder matchups got nerfed, means that Falcon is in a truly excellent place in the current metagame. I genuinely believe that as he's further optimized, he's risen dramatically from where he was before, and I think very soon he's going to have the results of a character that is at bare minimum like the middle of high tier and possibly close to top tier. I genuinely think that with the way his current matchup spread has panned out and his new tools pretty much addressing hypothetical flaws that I knew if they were addressed would fix a ton of matchups, the fact that we've received those changes in addition to those characters getting worse means that there's a very real possibility that optimized Falcon won't have that many losing matchups, which is wild to think about. I mean, I could be wrong, but I genuinely believe a lot in this character, and I hope I've done my part in convincing you two as well. Either way, that's going to be it for me for the night. Sorry for being tired, but long day at DreamHack Dallas, or long weekend at DreamHack Dallas, and I only slept 4 hours last night. But if you enjoy this, find it useful or whatever, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you're really feeling nice and you want to support me for some inane reason, you can also turn on notifications for my channel if you want to see any more of this dribble on a regular basis. Either way, you all have a good day, night, or whatever it is where you are, and see you around.